Yeah, I turned to Kyle and I'm like, hey, hoot one time. He hoots and he gets to like the third note of that hoot and one just hammers right on top of us.
He gobbled twice. So yeah, he gets the third note of who cooks for you. He get who cooks for and the turkey gobble, okay? And Kyle kept his composure. He finished the whole thing, didn't miss a beat.
Yep.
And the turkey gobbles again at the end of it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God. The first time it gobbled, it was so loud. I'm like, this turkey's right here in front of us. Like, it is in a tree right here above us. And then when he gobbled the second time at the end of, him hooting, I was like, oh no, it's behind us. I'm like, this is way worse.
This is no bueno.
Yeah, I'm like, it is no bueno. I'm like, everybody's facing the same direction, and it is behind all of us. Right here. I mean, it is right there. I'm like, he's in shotgun range, it sounds like.
All right, everybody, welcome back to another Thursday Q&A, except we're not doing any Q&As today because we got too much to talk about. We have been busy this week scaring every turkey on public ground in Alabama. It has been interesting. We got Caden Gray here, the South's favorite cameraman. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys?
Primal Frame Photography. Remember, you got to speak up. You're always quiet on these things. You got to project your voice.
Yeah, normally you got to tell Caden to be quiet, but then you put him on a podcast and he just hunkers in.
Jacob, how you doing?
I'm doing great. As good as I could.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to see a gobbler get his head popped off at a very close range today. Did not happen.
Did not happen. Could have happened, should have happened. So we've been hunting all week. Everyone has been asking us to do hunting content. We did the Florida turkey hunt.
Who's everyone? I mean, there's been some people.
We get messages about it.
Okay.
And comments about it, especially on YouTube. Shout out to the YouTube commenters.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. Caden's like, come on, get them to hire me to film some more. So we did the Florida turkey hunt. That hunt is on YouTube right now. Mm-hmm. We had Caden come up here and we blocked off a couple days where we're just hunting and filming. And man, it's been an interesting couple days. It started out, me and you went to the club, right?
Yep.
Did we get on a bird on the club? I can't remember.
I know we're jumping ahead of that, but dude, I had a great hunt on Friday.
No, we did not get on a bird.
No, yeah, y'all didn't get on a bird. It was windy as crap because I remember calling you guys.
Oh my gosh, dude. We've missed a lot. Yeah. I missed a bird.
Yeah.
The other day.
Yeah.
Right before Caden got here.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about that.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, you've had 4 opportunities.
I should be tagged out in Alabama. Yeah. Should be tagged out, boys. Yeah, I missed one. And then, the morning that we went to interview Crawford Bush, which came out this past Monday, great episode with Crawford.
Excellent.
That morning, you almost got one.
Yeah, I didn't miss. Listen, I'll say that with confidence. Did not miss.
Miss 100% of the shots you don't take, my man.
That is right.
That was a shot I wasn't going to take. I've missed a handful of birds trying to take that shot. I had a great hunt. Struck a bird. We only had 2 hours to hunt. Had to be leaving by 8 o'clock, and ended up having a bird struck him at 6:30, and he ended up coming in to like 75 yards, 80 yards, gobbling his brains out. Road noise, motorcycles driving on the road. He double, triple, quadruple gobbled, just insane amount of gobbling. To the point where he kind of got numb. After like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, he's just staying there. Let's take a step back and try to reanalyze the situation. Kind of got numb to the fact because he was gobbling so much.
That's how the one I missed was.
Yeah.
That's how he was.
Yeah. But he never drummed. And that was one thing I was like, why can't I? He's so close gobbling. Why can't I hear him drumming? He never drummed. He ended up swinging and finally was able to get him to break. I drummed, kind of like what Will Lyon was talking about.
Yeah.
And
you drummed at him.
Yeah, I drummed at him, and he'd gobble.
Hit me with a drum real quick. That's pretty good.
It is.
Yeah. I hear enough of it. I'll be able to do it. No. But I drummed at him. I don't know, probably 7-8 times. And one time he double gobbled at it. And like right when you did it, he just gobble. And then maybe the last time I did it. Second to last time I did it, he started drifting away. I'm like, maybe he does not like, potentially another gobbler being here. But he ended up coming by 20, he gobbled at 40 yards, come up this little rise to me off this little roadbed. And he ended up swinging to my left. And when I sat down in this spot, it was a road, old logging road that made like a left-hand bend. I sat in the bend, probably 40 yards from the actual curve itself, but sat on the inside of the bend in order to probably try to see if he'll cut across, kind of like what
Stanley.
So yeah, Stanley Wims talked about. And that's kind of how I set up. I could still shoot the road, but I could shoot, across that bend.
Just to clarify on that, what Stanley said was when you're calling a gobbler down a road like that, when you get on a road bend, a lot of times they won't walk around that bend. They'll cut the corner and they'll walk through the woods. So you set up to shoot that and the road if you can. But anyway, so that's what you did.
That's what this gobbler did. So I set up for it. And when I sat down, I was like, I have plenty of shot opportunities, except for this one little area. If he comes up right there, I got problems, but he ain't gonna come up right there. That's exactly where he popped up at. There's like a brush top right there, just with some stuff kind of growing up in it. And he came up right on the other side of it, right over the lip, head popped up, and gobbled, but was just moving. And maybe you could have squeezed a shot off. He was 35 yards. Maybe you could squeeze a shot off, but I just didn't feel confident trying to shoot through that stuff, along with him just moving right to left, coming by me to my left. He ended up getting a what's it called, a sparkleberry thicket next to me, big sparkleberry thicket. Got right next to me off my left shoulder, 90 degrees off my left shoulder, and gobbled. And about dropped the gun when he did that, because I'm like, this is not good, because I'm spun as far to the left as I can get, and he's past my gun barrel and just gobbled. And then he went quiet for a second. I held that gun, and a couple minutes later, he gobbled again. He was 100 yards behind me. All that happened within about 40 minutes. But one thing I was going to mention, while he was gobbling, this is interesting endeavor, because I haven't had this happen very often. Heard a hen yelping on the back side of him. Gobbler came by me, and I called you, Andrew. I was like, yeah, I heard this hen. And then this hen started kind of cutting and everything, and I was like, I think that's a guy. I don't think it's a hen. And I was on the phone with you. I was like, let me hang up and just see if this is a dude that comes over here walking. I hang up with Andrew, stand there for a couple minutes, and all of a sudden I hear a stick crack, and I hear something move through the grass, some brush. I'm like, oh, that's a person. There ain't no way that's a turkey. And then I saw the guy coming with his face mask on. I was like, dang. I was like, okay. So I popped out in the road. Just waved at him. He's like, oh, he was not expecting me to be there. And walked up to him. I was like, man, I was close, but no dice. He slipped by me at 35 yards, couldn't get a shot. He's like, you could see him when he went by you? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, come to find out, he had ended up chasing that bird 1,000 yards from where he had it on the roost, which, they're flying down at 6 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
At 6:30, he went 1,000 yards to where I struck him in 30 minutes. He's like, that turkey was hightailed, and he followed the turkey the whole way there. Ended up being a listener to the podcast. Derek, great to meet you, brother. Super cool. Talked to him for a couple minutes. Turkey started gobbling, and he's like, hey, you want to go try that gobbler? I'm like, well, I got 30 minutes left before I got to leave. Let's go do it. So we ran over, a few hundred yards down, got set up, called. Bird responded, but just kept he drifted towards us, maybe to 150, 200 yards, and went away. So we left him, had to walk back to you picked me up, and he had to walk a long ways to his truck. I'm 3/4 of a mile in the opposite direction. And as we were walking out, the sucker kept gobbling. Just kept gobbling, but he drifted off onto some private land. But anyways, fun encounter, super great hunt. Really enjoyed it. But that's one of those opportunities this year. I think it's the only other opportunity I've had where I've had one in range, and also one gobble. I haven't had one like that gobbling that hard in front of me all season yet. So that was good.
Yeah, it's been kind of a strange year. We were talking about that earlier, that there's been a lot of gobbling, but not a lot of that.
Yeah, not a lot of birds actually wanting to do it.
Yeah.
So,
a lot of birds flying down and going straight to bottoms.
Yep. Straight to the bottoms, and they gobble for maybe 15, 20 minutes on the ground, and they kind of go quiet. And it's you kind of set up thinking that they're still in that spot in the bottom. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
And it's like just trying to listen for drumming and go from there. But yeah, it's been a lot better gobbling activity last year. Last year I didn't hear a gobble on public land after April 14th. And we are way past that at this point, and they're still gobbling pretty good.
Yeah. We haven't had a good rain in quite a while now, and the day that Caden got here, we got a little bit of a rain that came through. I mean, not even like a really good rain, but enough where it wet the roads a little bit and kind of deteriorated the tracks that were there. And the roads on the club have gotten really, really dusty, and you couldn't hunt the first morning. And so me and Caden went to the club, and our plan was to go sit on a high ridge and listen. And I think it was windy that day, maybe.
Really windy.
Oh yeah, very, very windy. We hunted through this little bottom. No luck. It was terrible. So I was like,
hey, I was checking your location because like I think it was Sunday morning, and we were getting ready to go to church. I was like checking y'all's location. Y'all were still out there, and like I've been outside for a little bit, just like getting stuff loaded in the truck. And I'm like, they are probably hating themselves because like first off, it got chilly, but also
oh yeah, it was cold.
Like the temp fell out. But also, I mean, trees were whipping, dude, at like 9 a.m., 8 a.m. So I was like, that's not going to be fun.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible. I'd rather hunt them in the rain than in the wind, honestly.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it was bad. But I was thinking, I was like, well, by the time we got up out of that bottom that we were hunting through, because at first we were like, well, let's go low because they're going to be low out of this wind. And they've just been staying low this whole year.
Yep.
There's still so many water oak acorns on the ground that they're still scratching and eating those.
Mm-hmm.
So we hunted through there, saw nothing. Probably bumped a turkey or two that we didn't know about. And then I was like, well, let's go walk the roads and see if we can just pick up some fresh tracks that are in this nice rained-on road. And dude, how many miles do you think we walked?
At least 7.
On roads, looking. We found some old dust bowls. We found old tracks. Didn't find a single fresh track in all those freaking roads.
They got abducted by aliens.
Yeah. So then we swung around into this bottom, found where some dude put a little mineral site last year.
Yep.
And he had a rope hanging for his scrape. And there's a little present for us right in the middle of that. Right in the middle of that.
Right in the middle of it. After we stood there for probably 5 minutes.
Yeah, we were there for 5 minutes. I looked down. I was like, oh, there's an antler right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shed antler.
Oh, that's what the antler was?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was
No
like,
trail camera?
no. When I saw it through the woods, when I saw the mineral site, I was like, start looking for a camera. Didn't see a camera, and we walked up and we were just standing there trying to figure out what to do because that bottom was real scratched up too,
Yep.
fresh scratch in there. And we were standing there for a couple minutes. And I looked down. I'm like, oh, cool, a participation trophy. Got me a shed antler, boy.
But didn't kill a turkey.
Yep, didn't kill a turkey.
I think it was Nick DeCarty commented on Instagram when you posted that. He's like, oh, or maybe it was Adam. Actually, I think it was Adam Bice. He's like, does that mean you kill a turkey? Because we were talking about that with Thomas. Like, if I've been with Thomas and we found a shed antler, we've killed every time we found a shed antler. And then Thomas has done it again this year by himself. Going in, found a shed antler, kill a turkey. So,
Yep.
you need to keep the streak alive.
No, I killed that streak.
Clearly, it's not meant for us.
Yeah, no, it doesn't extend to me, apparently. It's only blood Myers.
It's only redheads.
Yeah, it's only gingers that works for. So yeah, we just walked around and we just hiked around with a gun for like 8 hours that day.
We went nature walking.
Yeah, nature walking. Didn't even see a turkey that whole day.
No, we
What?
did see turkeys.
Yeah, y'all drove around, didn't you?
We were in the truck and we saw those 2 hens coming out of that clear cut.
Oh yeah, we sure did. Okay.
They were in an open clear cut?
Yep.
There was 2 in an open clear cut and there was 1 in a burn.
In that wind?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like exposed part of the clear cut?
Yeah, I mean wide open.
Wide open.
Gosh.
Wide open in that
Okay.
clear cut.
They weren't tree surfing, but they were like,
Yeah.
you know, we're gonna knock this dust off all these mites off with this wind.
Yeah, seriously. Well, and then there's that burn on the club that they burned it in late winter, and it's still pretty thick in there though, like vines. And we were slow rolling by that, and I looked over, and there was just a hen standing there, like 10 yards off the road, looking at us. I'm like, man, I thought she was a gobbler at first. It's a huge, humongous hen. She walked off in there. Didn't see no gobblers. So then the next morning we switched over to public, and we went hunting with you. And
What do you mean went hunting with me?
actually, me and Caden went hunting, and you were late. That's what happened.
Correct.
Well, you can't hunt in the dark, first off, okay? I got there before light.
So
Got there maybe 2 minutes before gobble time.
That's all that matters.
he's popping gravel.
Hey, come to find out, that's all it took.
Yeah, we were standing there, and I was like, Jacob's going to freaking drive up here and pop and gravel all the way to us. So I was like, I think I talked to you that morning. I was like, hey, park up the road and walk to us or something like that. And me and Caden went and listened in this spot, and you texted me a pin. You're like, I'm just going to listen right here. And I looked at the map, and it was like way up the road. I was like, what is he doing? He needs to get over here. And it was not a good looking listening spot either.
That's what you would think. That's why nobody else does it. But if they're there, they're there. It's a great listening spot. But
they're not there right now.
To each their own. I ended up going down the road to the other gate you wanted me to go to. And the problem was this lack of cell service. Like I had cell service. Y'all had cell service if you were up high.
Yeah.
And I think you text me that y'all had just heard a bird gobble. And right after that text message, I heard one gobble as well. So I was trying to text you that. And I think at some point in between, you text me that a bird was gobbling, me texting you, which a couple minutes later, y'all just went diving after a turkey.
Yes.
Correct.
Did not know that. There was no communication on that because
we're like, he can fend for himself.
We're trying to hunt together, and you got Kate in here. So I'm standing there. I'm like, I'm texting you. Did you ever did my text messages ever come through?
Yeah, they did when we popped back up.
It's like 25 of them. Like, ding, 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 ding.
Get over here.
Yeah, because I'm like, so you said that bird, anyways, this turkey gobbled, then another one gobbled, and they just kept gobbling and gobbling and gobbling. This is 5:45. Again, fly down's just after 6 a.m. And I stood there like 6:15, and they're just hammering. And I'm like, I was blowing your phone up, calling you. It just went straight to voicemail, just like call dropped or whatever. I'm like, we got birds right here. Like they're down this drainage gobbling. So I'm like, crap, I'm just going to go find you guys. So I drove down the road, found your truck, and I knew where y'all were listening from, where you told me you were listening from. So I go just tearing off up the hill. I mean, dude, like fast. You know, I don't hike very fast, but I was as fast as I could make it up that hill. Dude, I was up that hill, and I was like, up there. I was like, where the heck is Andrew Caden? I'm looking around, I'm like, we got turkeys gobbling. And I know at that point, I never heard, whatever turkey y'all heard gobbling, he wasn't gobbling when I got up there. At least I couldn't hear him, but I got up there and I was like, I started whistling. I don't know if y'all ever heard whistles.
No.
Dude, I was whistling, trying to get y'all, because I didn't want to yell. I was like, get out! I was like, Andrew! But anyways, that was, you know, that didn't work. So I'm like, whatever, I'm going after these turkeys myself. So I hike all the way back down to the truck, get to the truck, drive back, go to the gate, park, grab my stuff. When I park, they're still gobbling. This is like 20 minutes later. Like I drove down to you guys, went up there and messed around. Anyway, 20 minutes later, they're still gobbling. So it's like 6:35, 6:40. They're still gobbling. So I go tearing off in there. Run that ridge down. Well, actually, no. Maybe I should. What were y'all doing when I couldn't find you? That's the real question. That's the real question. When you walkie-talkie.
Okay, so this bird in front of us, he gobbled, and it was pretty clear.
Yeah.
We were like, he's right there. Like, we kind of knew pretty much exactly where he was at. And it was pretty dark when he gobbled, and especially when you get into the bottom. It's like dark in the bottom still. And they've been flying down and going straight to the bottoms all week. So I was like, well, let's just go straight at him and just try him real quick. And we got halfway down the hill and another one gobbled. And there's this ridge point that came out, and there was a bird on each side of it. So we're like, perfect, let's get down in here and see what we can do. And so we eased down in there, and I think by the time we got to the bottom, like all the way into the bottom, they were on the ground. Do you think?
Yep.
And the one to our right, he gobbled maybe twice when we were down there. And then the one to our left, he kept gobbling. And I called. Did he respond to me calling one time?
I think so. It's been a long couple days, so I couldn't tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure he did. But he went quiet pretty soon after we got set up down there.
Yeah, so we called at him, and it didn't work. And then we heard hens off to our right where that other gobbler was at, and there was this, we could see that ridge point that came down out of this burn, and they were just on the other side of it, and that goes up to a saddle. I was like, let's just run up to that saddle real quick and loop around them and cut them off. So that's what we did. We ran up there and never heard them again. probably saw us. I don't know what they did. I don't know what happened.
Probably bump them turkeys to the next county.
They're probably still walking to get home.
So while y'all are doing that, I'm back at this next gate, okay? Hiking in.
So when it comes to packing your gear into the woods, there's really one thing that matters the most to me, and that is being able to have everything very secure and within the footprint of your torso, essentially, which means that I don't want anything sticking out from either side. I don't want anything sticking up above my back. You just want to keep everything really tight, close to the body, so you're not snagging on things when you're walking through the woods. To do that, it's important to have a backpack that has a lot of options for how you can attach things to the pack. This is the Ranger 22 and Ranger 33 from Latitude, two of our favorite packs. And the reason I like these packs is because they've got two straps that go across the body of the pack. They've got this panel that goes over those straps, and then you also have straps on the bottom of the backpack as well. What that allows me to do is I can attach my sticks and my platform in a variety of different ways that keeps everything very secure and kind of covered up. Like you can see, I've got my platform right here covered with this panel. Again, that keeps it very tight and it keeps it close to my body where nothing's hanging out and snagging on briars or vines or anything as I'm trying to make my way to the stand, which keeps me quiet and keeps me from getting aggravated when I'm walking through the woods. So I personally like the Ranger 22 a lot. The Ranger 33 is a slightly bigger pack. It's a really good option, especially as you get into later season. If you want a little bit more room, it's gonna make it easier to carry things like bibs or any extra layers that you're gonna need for cold weather. So you can check both of these out at latitudeoutdoors.com. One thing we talk about with almost every guest on this show is map scouting. My favorite map scouting tool is LiDAR. If you're unfamiliar, LiDAR is basically like a 3D scan of the Earth's surface. I like to say it kind of takes away all the surprises. LiDAR is now available on OnX Hunt on their topography map. If you go to your app right now, click on the topography map, you can flip on that LiDAR feature and boom, it's gonna come on and you're gonna see what I'm talking about. The LiDAR is gonna allow you to see things that are normally hidden from view. This might be ditches, bends and creeks, rocks, old road beds. I personally love old road beds because deer like to walk them. They're great places to find scrapes. They're great camera locations. And you know, before, an old roadbed or an old logging road might be something that you kind of happen upon while you're out scouting or hunting. Well, now with the LiDAR, before I go into an area, I can turn on that LiDAR and I can see exactly where those roadbeds are. Even old logging roads from the 1930s, you can still see them on there. So that allows me to go straight to those spots and check them out. It's just an incredibly helpful tool, and it's available now on OnX Hunt. And hey, if you want to get 20% off your OnX Elite membership, you can use the promo code SOUTHERN. Like I said, it's going to save you 20%. Go check out that LiDAR feature. You'll be glad you did. Know where you stand with OnX Hunt.
Again, no communication. I've tried to call both of y'all 15 times. I go walking in, and they end up going, I could hear them still gobbling as I was walking in. And I got to a certain point, maybe, I don't know, 350 yards from the truck. They stopped gobbling. And I was worried that I came upon a drainage, big hardwood drainage, and I was, kind of pines up top, hardwood's kind of the drainages in the bottom. And I'm like, I think there might be one right there where I heard one of the gobbles. So I was like real slow, meticulous, like easing down, calling a little bit, just trying to see if there was a bird right there. No response. Ended up getting into that little SMZ, getting up on the other side of this little secondary ridge point and walking that ridge point out on the back edge of it. Real slow, just listening, looking. It was pretty calm that morning. And called a little bit, no responses. While I work down to probably 75 yards from the tip of it and pull up my ceramic pot call and do a cut yelp sequence. And one cuts me off. And I was like, ooh, okay, great. This is perfect. And trying to look at picking out trees. And I'm like, it sounded like he was maybe 200 yards. I'm like, I'm just going to ease up. I didn't like how the setup was on the side slip, so I try to get a little bit higher elevation, kind of set up. And when I do that, I call again. He doesn't cut me off, but he gobbles a couple seconds after I stop. And then after that, like, all hell broke loose. And it was like that turkey gobbled. Then another turkey sounded like maybe 100 yards down started gobbling. And another gobbler started gobbling further up the ridge. And like within 3 minutes, it was 8 different birds gobbling on this one ridge system out in front of me. All the way from like this big secondary ridge system comes off the main ridge. All the way up from up against the main ridge, all the way down to the tip, down the creek bottom, pretty far away, probably, I don't know, 400 yards. They're just hammering and just going back and forth. I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I have no excuse not to kill a turkey. I mean, one of these gobblers can be jealous. Okay, I'm the prettiest sounding hen he's ever heard. One of them's ever heard. They're gonna come over here, and I just let them kind of do their thing for maybe a couple minutes, and ended up start calling again. And I'd call, and it would be like 2 or 3 would respond, like cut me off, and then all the other ones just start gobbling at those gobblers.
It's like a cascade.
And it was like bah, 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 and it was like just constant gobbling. It was insane. And it was looking back at it, I wish I would have kind of filmed some of it on my phone just for like video evidence of what actually happened.
Yeah, he's lying. Bro.
But I was like, I gotta kill one of these birds, and I was just trying to get one of them fired up enough to try to come across. They were like, there was a drainage between me and that ridge system, not like a creek bottom or anything, just a pretty good sized drainage. And I'm like, I gotta get one of them to come across. It called some more, kept responding. I'm just being quiet, and then they just kept gobbling. I'm standing there, looking at my watch. It's like 7 o'clock, and it was probably 10 minutes of gobbling, not consistent, but like every 15 seconds, at least 1 or 2 birds would gobble. And all of a sudden, it'd be like a barrage of gobbling, and it would slow down again, and it'd be the same thing just over and over again. And then I could hear fighting purrs. I could hear like loud, you could almost say cuts, but really just loud clucks with the fighting purrs. And I'm like, gosh, come on, one of y'all break. Well, finally, I'm sitting there. I'm texting y'all. I'm like, I think I texted. I was like, I've got 8 in front of me. Where y'all at? How's it going? And finally, I guess is when y'all got up on that high ridge, up in that saddle. I think I called you. Answered, yeah. And I was like, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, we're over here. Chased a couple birds. Kind of gone quiet. We're just up here listening. I'm like, well, I've got 8 in front of me gobbling right now.
On our way.
Yeah. And you're like, really? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, drop me a pin. Where do I need to go? I'm like, I was thinking, I was like, I don't know if I even want to send y'all a pin.
Guy.
And I was like, anyways, I finally was just like, sent y'all a pin of like where to meet me. I'm like, we can swing on these birds. Because I just don't know that my current approach is going to work. And anyways, y'all just start tearing off. And I ended up calling you a little bit later. I was looking at finally could see your location. Y'all were getting up close to the truck. I called you again, and y'all just heavy breathing. You're just heavy breathing. I'm like, y'all were hiking fast. And
we was sprinting.
Yeah. Then I was like, where y'all at? He's like, oh, we're almost at the truck. He's like, we're walking your way. I'm like, don't walk my way. Get in the truck and drive over here. And
I was about to hit that road and start jogging, boy.
Yeah. But they just kept gobbling. I mean, they gobbled like that until 8 o'clock, 8:15. I think y'all met up with me like 8:25, 8:30. And when I slipped out to meet up with y'all up on the main ridge, they were still gobbling. Like the last time I heard them like actual gobble good, I looked at it, y'all were 30 yards from me. Like the whole way I'm watching y'all coming, they're like, like just gobbling right off my left shoulder. Yeah, I'm like, we're killing one of these suckers, dude. I was so confident. I'm like, we're going to swing in on them, dude. They got this little saddle. I'm like, we're going to bust one right there in that saddle. Call one up from either side of it, dude. Yeah, or 2. I'm like, that's what I was telling you. I was on the phone. I was like, we can double. Like, we can, like, legitimately double if we get in the right position. And anyways, y'all get 30 yards from me. They kept gobbling and finally get up to me. I was like, all right, we're going this way. We ended up swinging in. They went quiet on us.
They gobbled a couple more times after we got there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, relatively wise compared to what they had been doing for the previous 2 hours. Got quiet, or more quiet. And we ended up doing that big loop, trying to drop in there and kind of come up on the backside of the saddle. And I think we heard 2 gobbles while making that approach.
Yeah, it was hard to get down in there because the ridge that you sat on at first and tried to call them to, that was a pretty good setup, but they just didn't want to leave that flat that they were on. And so what you were telling us was that we needed to get down off of the high spot that we were on and get more on their level and try to call them off that flat or let them drift to the end of it and then crawl up the backside and get right there and then try to call them back. Mm-hmm. And so we started to bail off the side and we peeked over the ridge and it's like wide open. That whole flat is wide open. And so we're like, well, we can't go down right here. So we ended up having to make this big loop around, quail whistling. Mm-hmm. It was awesome. That was a good morning. Ended up swinging around, get to the saddle, and we just take our sweet time easing up over because we're like, they're probably still right here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Set up, finally get to where we can set up. We set up, we call, and hear nothing for like, I don't know how long we sat there.
At least an hour and a half.
Hour and a half. Finally, we're like, well, they must have drifted to the very, very end of this. Maybe they went down into the creek. Let's get up and cross the flat and try to get to one of the, I can't remember what we were trying to do. I think we were trying to get to the end of that ridge point, maybe.
Yeah, we were trying to work down that little, it's not even a secondary ridge at that point. It's I don't know what you'd call it. It's a long little ridge point coming off this big secondary ridge. And it's flat. It's beautiful. Like, it just looks like where a gobbler wants to be. And that's where 4 or 5 of them really wanted to be.
And just to paint the picture even more, it's like these ridges almost have like 3 tiers to them.
Yeah.
You've got the creek in the very bottom, then you got the first tier, which is like these little, I call them spur points, like little secondary ridges
They're
that
like
come off.
30 foot tall.
Yeah, 30 feet tall. And then about halfway up, you'll have another little ridge system or whatever. And then you got the top. Those are your 3 tiers. We started at the top, got down to the second one. And then we're trying to get on that lowest, that third tier, the very lowest part.
Good description. Absolutely.
So we go walking across that.
Well, hold on. So we're like, follow me. We're gonna go real slow and listen. It was calm, and we're gonna listen for drumming. We're gonna listen for scratching. Maybe they gobble, maybe they don't. But just try to key in on other things.
And this is like 11.
It was 11:30.
11:30.
And we drop off those trees we'd sat on. Gone 30 yards. Got onto that truly on that first level tier. And we're walking slow, but making some noise, a bunch of leaf litter. Bird hammers.
At us walking.
100 yards on if we're on one of these, I'm going to call that first tier little points, the other first tier point that was off our left shoulder.
Yep.
That
2 parallel points.
2 parallel points. He's on it, hammers right at us. Like, there's nothing obstructed the gobble.
Nothing but air between. That gobble slapped us right in the face.
Right.
We froze. We were like, hold on a second. No, nobody move. Nobody move.
Frozen in the sunlight, too. I mean, just the worst possible spot we could have stopped.
In the wide open.
Yep.
Yeah. Ended up having a big pine tree right behind us. We kind of drifted. Like, we stood there for like a minute, just waiting to see if that sucker starts walking towards us. Or if we hear drumming or nothing. Never heard drumming. Anyways, we drove back to that pine tree, sit down probably sat on him for 45 minutes to an hour.
I about got a sunburn.
Yeah, and no responses. We're like, I don't know, maybe he probably saw us.
No way he didn't see us.
Yeah.
There's no way. Especially after we ended up getting on that point the next day and looking back, I was like, yeah, he saw us.
100%.
He probably heard us walking and gobbled at us walking and then peeked around. And he's like, oh, those are dudes.
Yep. Oh, man. But anyways, that was a wrap of that hunt. So, like, it went from, like, all that gobbling activity just insane to, like, they just all but one disappeared. And we're just like, I don't know how that happened. But it did. It was like they just vanished. Oh my gosh. And that's been a frustrating thing this whole season so far. Again, we've had great gobbling activity. I mean, some great hunts from hearing birds and getting to make some plays, but it's just like they just disappear.
Yeah.
And you have no idea. Like okay, I assume they're down that creek bottom, but I don't know how we can make a play on them because you're gonna get busted trying to drop down to something like that. So, anyways, game plan for the next day, which was yesterday, was like we're gonna be on that ridge before daylight.
Yes.
We're gonna be sitting there, pretty much sleeping with them in the dark. Hanging tight with them. And again, so this is an interesting, funny part of this story. We get there. I get there a little late, but not
Once
terrible.
again,
10, 15 minutes. Hey, you said we can start walking at 4:45. I pulled up about 4:45, so put us behind a little bit. But then we get out and we're gonna walk this different access path, kind of just trying to get in the bottom and stay in the bottom, and then kind of come up to that little ridge. Andrew looks over at me and he's like, "Jake, you take lead." I'm like, "Okay." Well, we're going in with no lights. There's no moon. It isn't like half moon or like a full moon night, dude, yeah, you see, it's amazing how much you can see. It is like almost like going in your like bedroom closet with the door shut and the lights off. Dude, it's dark, bro.
It ain't that bad.
It's pretty. Listen, you see like if you looked up at the sky, and Andrew kept saying like, look up at the sky, find you a tree, and walk to it. Okay, cool. If you looked down at the ground, unless it was really close to you, you didn't really see what you were about to step on, as in like logs and stuff. Had to be pretty tight too.
You got to feel the road.
I know
baby.
you had to you feel your way going in. I get it.
I think he's just scared of the dark.
I think he is too.
I'm scared of stepping on a timber rattlesnake, 100%.
It was cold. They ain't gonna be out.
Anyway, so we do that. Like y'all, like, oh, we're gonna follow Jacob, and I'm like, okay. It was terrible. So
It was
slow.
not that bad. Was it that bad?
No. I'm saying like how long it took us to get in there. It should have taken that long because I'm like taking like 5 or 6 steps, and I'm like looking around.
Okay, yeah, that was terrible because we were following you, and he would walk like 5 feet and then stop and just stand there. I'm like, keep going.
Yeah,
We're walking in.
Yeah.
Like, keep going.
Anyway, so
There were stars out. You could see. You just had to let your eyes.
I mean,
you
if
can't
you're-
be looking at your phone
I mean,
and your digital watch.
yeah, I mean,
ruins your
if
night
If
vision.
you're in your closet and the lights are off the door shut, you can still see light around the door frame. I mean, it don't mean you can see. I mean, yeah, I can see. I mean, there's a hamper somewhere right there. I kind of can see it. That's what it was like. So we finally get in.
Look, that's the trick to it, though. Is like if you get lost a little bit. First of all, you got to feel the ground with your feet. Tell if you're going uphill or downhill. We're walking an old logging road,
Yeah.
that's got trees growing in it and everything. Like, it's really not even a logging road, but you just feel and make sure you're not getting off the edge of it, going downhill off of it or going uphill off of it. So you just stay on it. And if you don't know it's in front of you, just look up. You see there's a tree at like 10 yards. You can see it up against the sky, and just walk towards the tree and then feel it. And then look at the next tree.
So
Feel it?
So one thing I was nervous about was like falling in like just some kind of hole or something like that, just whatever. And I bring that up because me and Thomas, when we were coming out the day I shot my bird down the road from there, we walked up and we found an old whale, and there was no bottom to that thing. Dude, I'm talking the whale was as big as his ottoman, huge. And dude, we walked up.
It's all right. There's 3 of us there. We get you out of it.
No, y'all don't have enough rappel line, bro. Okay. But it was in a pine thicket, and we were walking out and just walked right up on it. And Tom was like, "Ooh, I ain't walking through here in the dark." I mean, freaking, you go off in that sucker, and it was level to the ground. I'm like, who knows how many things have fallen in that and died? Okay, and like we took a flashlight, looked at dude. It was abyss. I didn't even tried. I should have tried to drop something in there to see how long it took to hit something. Anyway, so I was a little nervous about that.
Okay, that's fair.
That's a bad way to go, dude. Like snake bite would be bad. Falling in a well would be really, really, really bad. So this is becoming a really long story. But finally, at one point, Andrew, you took lead, which I was thrilled with. I'm like,
I was like, all right, this is taking too long.
I'm like, I'm going to watch Andrew. I'm going to watch Andrew. And whatever he does, if he falls, I'm just not going to do whatever he just did, which is hard to tell in the dark. You're just like a gray, bluish gray figure in front of you at like 7 feet. Come to find, yeah, you ripped your pants and tried to cross this little creek drainage, and you thought, what happened?
So there's this little creek. I knew the creek was there,
Yeah.
and I was trying to not like fall into it because it was kind of steep bank.
Yeah, it was.
And so I eased down into it. I'm like feeling with my foot, and I'm like, okay, I can just walk down. But the other side was a cut bank, and I'm like looking in the dark, and I think I see the bank right there.
See, this is what I'm saying. You're in a closet with the lights off.
Listen,
Your mind plays tricks on you.
I think it's fun walking into the dark. So I go to step on it, and there's just nothing there.
Hey, dude, it was like a pretty good cut bank. Like,
Yeah, and so
it was
so
like
I ended up
chest high on it.
I ended up like I didn't fall, but I tried to step and there wasn't anything there. Like it was further than I thought it was. So my foot hit the other bank and I like overextended. I'm talking about just blew the crotch right out of my pants at 4:45 in the morning. And it was a bit drafty for the rest of that hunt, boys. It was a brisk morning.
Dude, when I crossed that, dude, I like slid down my butt. I was using my gun unloaded. I was like, almost like a walking stick, like kind of feeling my way down that cut bank. Then I'm like, man, I'm just gonna sit on my butt and like slide off in this thing, and then get up the other side. Dude, I get to the other side, and it's like chest level on me. Dude, I about almost couldn't get out of that thing. Dude, it was like slick on the side. Dude, I'm like grabbing stuff. I'm like, I slid back down. I'm like, oh, this is terrible. So I like tossed the gun up there and just started grabbing roots with whatever however I could, and like pulled myself out. Oh, dude.
I just stepped right up the thing. It wasn't that steep, was it?
Well, wherever I draw, I might not cross
Maybe
exactly.
he needs to carry a
Listen.
stepping stool with
Listen, I couldn't see. I just saw you like go across it, and I heard a commotion, and like I just saw you up on the other side, and the hillside up above it was a little more open timber, so like you could see.
Yep.
And I'm like, I think this is where Andrew crossed. I just like slid down. I got to the other side. I was like, well, I don't know if this is where Andrew crossed at.
He's in a hole.
Dude, I was like, this is terrible, dude. Anyway, but we get up the other side. Finally, get up all the way to our trees that we had sat at the day before. Like we already had the trees picked out.
I already had my spot scratched out.
Spot scratched out. We sit down. This is gonna be great. Perfect. And we get all situated, and like we're probably not as quiet as we should have been. Just kind of sitting there, just kind of messing around, like just getting stuff all situated. And it was like 6:25 or 5:25, and we might have been whispering or something. And all of a sudden, I hear like the sound of like a wing drag on a pine limb.
Yep.
Right next to it. Like, no, I said not right next to us. I don't know, 60 yards off my right shoulder. And I looked at you, Andrew. I was like, I think I just heard a turkey. It sounded like a turkey up in this tree that's like moved, like shift around, turn around.
Yeah, I heard it too.
And we're sitting there, and all of a sudden, bird starts gobbling right behind us. I say right behind us. I mean, probably a couple hundred yards behind us. At 5:25 or 5:35, that bird starts gobbling. I'm like, cool. We're in a mix of them, and amongst them. There we go. Beautiful. Well, anyways, I keep hearing this thing in this tree, and like, I don't know. Maybe I kind of didn't think about it. I was like, oh, maybe it's just an owl or whatever.
Hallucinated it.
Yeah, and kind of shift on the tree, and all of a sudden, we hear like pop, 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 like I hear wing flaps. And
I didn't hear wing flaps.
I heard wing flaps.
Did you hear wing flaps?
negative.
Okay.
Hallucinating.
Well, all right, listen now. Listen. But I look, and I'm like, it sounded like either a bird limb hopped or like sailed. I looked, couldn't see anything up those trees. And then all of a sudden, I was looking that general direction off my right shoulder, and I just see a bird like just sail down and behind the opposite side of this little ridge we're sitting on. And I was like, I looked at y'all, I was like, there's a turkey right here just landed. I was like, 100% turkey just landed. I think it was an owl. I don't know what that was.
I was about to say, I'm pretty sure that was an owl. Because I think the first thing that we heard, and then that was an owl.
Yeah.
Because if it was a turkey, when it pitched down, it was so calm, we would have heard it walking.
Yeah, no, 100%. 100%. But dude, I was bought in. I'm like, this turkey just landed, bro. Like right there. And anyways, turkeys, they just started gobbling all over the place. I think we ended up hearing 8, I think. But they were all around us. They're like, they had 2 or 3 right there behind us. One was pretty close. One was like right up on the saddle up above us. Had that hard, raspy gobble, best way to describe them. Had a couple way out in front of us, some not that far in front of us, kind of the way we came in. Some down that ridge system that we're sitting on, just like birds all around us, and we're like right in the middle. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. They're all gonna end up right here like they did yesterday.
Yeah, I got out the little copper call that I've got.
Yep.
And I started doing tree yelps,
mm-hmm.
and the ones behind us started responding.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the other ones responded to that. But so the ones behind us started responding to it. Like they gobbled at my clucks and everything. And I was calling pretty quiet. So I was like, hey, we need to spin around and just face up this hill and see what they do. So we all spin around. They keep gobbling over and over again. And eventually we feel like they're on the ground. And one of them, the one with the deep gobble, he got up in that saddle right above us. And I think that he got close. I think that he probably was up there peeking down to where we were at. But we just couldn't see him because the hill was kind of steep.
You heard drumming too, you said.
Yeah, and I heard drumming, and it sounded like he was drifting back and forth. Because at some point, I turned and faced more to the right because I was like, he's going to swing around us. But in the middle of all this, I had my mouth call in, and y'all turned around and y'all gave me the hand signal to start calling. So I turn around and try to pitch the call away from the turkeys. And I call in that direction, and the other turkeys cut me off. I was like, crap, that's the direction we were originally facing. And now we're spun around on the tree. I turned back towards them, yelped, they cut me off. And then the other ones gobbled too. And I was like, we're right between like 5 or 6 gobblers that are close enough to come in. So I'm like, this is about to happen. Or we're about to get busted really bad. Because the wrong one's about to come in at the wrong time. So I quit calling, and then the ones behind us that cut me off, after a couple minutes, they gobble again, and they sounded like they cut the distance in half. And so then I started to be like, hey, we need to turn around. We need to turn back around and face that direction. And then that's when I heard the one drum on top of the hill. I was like, this isn't good. We're about to get busted, boys. And then pretty much everything died off after that. It was pretty uneventful. Like, they quit gobbling, never came in. We ended up slipping up to that saddle. I don't think they gobbled again.
Yeah, probably an hour later.
Yeah, maybe an hour later we slipped back up there. We called some more.
Yep.
Nothing happened.
And like the, I'm going to call it the raspy gobble. It's something you hear it and you're like, that's got to be an older turkey. That was right up above us. He sounded like he drifted off a little bit, but he didn't gobble a whole bunch. But there was another one that was down there with him, a little bit further down the backside of the saddle. That turkey gobbled a ton, and it kept getting further and further and further away from us. And then, like you said, the ones that cut you off when you're running your old mouth yelper, just nothing ever came of those turkeys. Which, I mean, I'll be honest, I was disheartened. I was like, man, This is like, I'm like, God, they got to come back here. One thing I've realized this season, I haven't had a gobbler do like the same thing 2 days in a row, as in day one, they roost here and they go here. Day two, a lot of times they're not roosting the same spot, they're roosting a different spot, but within hearing distance, and they do something completely different, which is a little frustrating. Because like in the past, I've had it where like you get them on one day, they roost here and they do something. A lot of times the next day you go back in there, they might not roost in that same spot, but they kind of end up in the same area. That has not happened. Like we haven't had that happen really. But yeah, after that we just went on a little jaunt, kind of covered some ground, and
we tried to get over back where we heard there's 3 together that morning that were gobbling a good bit. Yeah. But they were on the, let's see, how do I explain this? So there's like 3 or 4 ridge points all in a row. We were on number 1. They were on like number 3 or 4. Mm-hmm. So they were a couple ridges over from us. And so we're like, well, let's make a big loop and get up there and listen and see if we hear them scratching, drumming, or if they gobble again. Ended up making this big loop, which I'm glad we did, because we learned a lot about that area and how we can move in there without... Because the problem with that first day when you first found these birds is we weren't sure how to move on them without getting busted, because you'll be walking through there thinking you're in cover, and all of a sudden you pop out and you're like, oh, there's a ridge 250 yards away that you can see. And if there's a turkey there, he'd see you. So we figured out how to move through there. We get up close to where they were at, sit down, eat some snacks, and we were sitting there, and we heard an owl like way off, and I hooted at it, and this owl came right to us, dude, and started hooting at us and looking at us.
9:30 in the morning.
9:30 in the morning, just raising Cain. He landed in a tree right above us, and we hooted at him, and he like craned his head down and looked straight at us, and then hooted at us, looking at us, and I was like, okay, cool. And so we go back and forth. Then another owl flies in, and they're both doing laughs and cackled, like all kinds of crazy owl stuff. And in the middle of all this, a turkey gobbles like way far down the creek, and we're like, "Oh, did you hear that?" Yeah. Caden didn't hear it, but we heard it.
Supposedly we heard it.
Yeah, I may never know if y'all did or didn't.
Yeah, it's probably a woodpecker.
Woodpecker pecking on pine.
So we're like, all right, let's go move on this bird. And these owls were around us for like, I don't know, it had to be 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Just flying around, looking at us.
Turkey starts gobbling, and we're like, well, let's just make a loop down there. I'm like, let's just keep hooting and bring these owls with us.
Yeah, I was saying, we're taking the owls with us.
And we did.
Dude, those are the best owls, man.
Dude, I mean,
I wish I could have gave them something. Gave them a handful of mice or something like that.
We would just be walking and hooting just natural voice. Like I have terrible natural voice hoot, but they just keep following us. They'd limb hop and fly between trees and just keep hooting.
Literally right above us the whole time.
400 yards.
400 yards, and then we got to where we approached where we thought the turkeys were, and then that sucker sailed right down in there and started hooting right where we thought the turkey was. I'm like, dude, did someone pay this owl?
This is awesome. Yeah, I was like, you could have asked for anything better.
No, dude. Those are my favorite owls I've ever encountered.
Yeah,
they had our backs, man.
Yeah.
And then we were walking in this morning. They were hooting. I was like, I wonder if those are the same ones. I turned to you. I was like, I wonder if they're like, hey guys, is that y'all? We're back. We're back.
I ended up never getting on that bird that gobbled a couple times.
No, depressing.
Tried them, no responses. Ended up making a loop out of there. So that was the end of the second day in that spot.
Well, then me and Caden, we got a 1 p.m. cutoff on public ground in Alabama. Mm-hmm. And so me and Caden went to the club, and when you get close to my club, there's some fields near it. And we saw 2 hens out in this one field, and I was like, huh, okay. So there's some other fields that directly butt up against our property that are a little bit more, they're like small fields. It's not like a big agricultural field. It's just like little horse pastures and hay fields and stuff. And so we drove around the back side of the club, and I think, no, we didn't see a hen. We get to the last field on this little road, and there's 2 longbeards in it, and they're just standing there. And on the left side of the road is this field, and then on the back side of that field is my club. So when I see the turkeys, I kind of gun it a little bit, and I get right up there to them, and they turn around and they run off into the club. And we watch them run onto the property, so we're like, we know where they're at. So then we go way around, and don't see anything. That's how that ended. But we saw 2 longbeards. That's the first Alabama longbeard he's ever seen.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Old Florida man.
Old Florida man.
Getting to see some Bama longbeards. Yeah, so we went in there.
Wait, describe. You said they were pretty big birds, right?
Oh, they were big birds.
Dude, running across that field, they looked like a couple ostriches running off. They looked huge.
Yeah.
Because we had seen those hens, and then they went running off. They were just like standing straight up, running. Like they almost looked clumsy running. They were just like running off, like they weren't that concerned with us. And got up on the club, and they just thinned those pines. And on the recent imagery on Onyx, when you turn it on, you can see the lanes where they did the thinnings. And there was a lane that went straight to where they walked to. So I was like, we're just going to go get where that lane forks and see if we can call them to us. So we went and got down there, and we called a little bit, didn't get any responses. And I got to looking at the map when we were sitting there, and there was a steep SMZ in these thin pines about 400 yards to our left. And just knowing what I know about the club, I went back and I was looking at all the places I've pinned roosted birds this year, and with the slope angle shading, and they're always on like that orange or red. Like they get on a steep slope and they pitch off into a tree. And there's hardwoods over there in that SMZ, so I'm like, I bet you they're going to end up over there. So we got up, made a big loop around there, sat down, and I don't know, it was like 6:45. I thought I heard a gobble down below us, but I wasn't sure. And then a turkey flew up behind us, and then we heard a fly up cackle, I guess, down lower in the SMZ. And that was kind of the end of that hunt. So some turkeys came in there. I don't know what they were, but roosted. That was the end of that. So then this morning, and while we were out there, our buddy Kyle Sides, who actually knows what he's doing, as opposed to us when it comes to turkey hunting, he's like, hey, you going in the morning? I was like, yeah. He's like, you want to call her? Because he's tagged out. Again, he knows what he's doing. He's tagged out, so he's wanting to go call for someone. And I was like, heck yeah, come with us. And so we go in there, and we go to the same spot that we hunted yesterday morning. But this time, instead of getting on that the third tier, the lowest ridge, where we started the day before, now we're going to get on the second tier, which is where the bird that got right behind us and got close to us, that's where he was. That's where he was gobbling from when we thought he was about to peek over. So we were just going to get on top of that. So we walk in the dark. I think Kyle maybe fell in a hole or something.
He fell in a hole, yeah. I just heard it. I didn't even look behind me because, again, it's like walking in. It's like walking around in a closet with the door shut.
Me and Caden left y'all.
Yeah, dude, me and Kyle. So we're sitting there talking, and Andrew's like, all right, let's go. I'm like, okay. Well, Andrew pulls out his phone flashlight to get through this real thick spot right off the road. And me and Kyle don't have a flash. We didn't turn our flashlight or phone flashlights on. So y'all get through it, and we get caught up in that freaking tangled mess, and we're trying to get through, get slapped in the face by everything. Can't see nothing. Can't see your hand in front of your face right off the rip because you were just in a truck with lights on. And next thing we know, me and Kyle finally get through it, and y'all are gone. Like, there's no light. We can't even hear y'all walk. Like, y'all are gone. And Kyle's like, I thought we were walking in together. He's like, no, those boys are gone. I'm like, yeah, I know. Every man for himself, I guess. And
we were waiting on y'all.
Dude, we were walking. I got not turned around, but I ended up missing where that old roadbed is and went down below. Oh, this is like feeling it's like steep. I'm like, oh, we're not in the right spot. It's flat. I'm like, hold on, stop a second. Let me go back up to the right. I kind of feel my way up. Oh, we're back in the flat spot. Okay, this is it. And we're walking. And then we're going. Finally catch up with you guys. We're kind of walking through. Me and Kyle Kyle's right behind me. We're not really talking a whole bunch, but we keep going. We get past. I didn't pull my phone out because, again, trying not lose the limited night vision I have, which is just everything looks bluish, black, gray color. I mean, you can see a tree. You look up, you can see a tree, and look down. Like, I think there's a trunk right there. I mean, it's got to be because I see the tree up there. And we get to the spot just past where we turned the day before, and I brought it to you. I was like, hey, because y'all were looking at your phone, and I was like, do y'all want to see my track where we went yesterday? And you're like, no, we're going to go further down the bottom and then cut across, try to stay in the bottom instead of like wrapping around this ridge point like we did the day before. I'm like, all right, cool. Well, we do that, and it gets darker and darker. This is like heavier canopy. I mean, you can't see the sky in some of this, okay? It is, I'm telling you, best example. Closet. I'm saying this 1,000 times on this podcast. Door shut, lights off, you can't see nothing, okay? You're just feeling your way through the clothes, okay? And that's what it was like. I'm like, dude, I can't, like, all of a sudden, you, like, just feel there's, like, you're in some brush, like, on the edge of the road, and I'm like, I could see it, like, when it was right here in front of my face. And I'm like, touch it. I'm like, okay. So I got to the point where, again, have my gun unloaded. I'm kind of like moving the gun barrel back and forth like a blind man with his cane trying to feel his way through. Make sure I'm not going to run into something I shouldn't be running into. Well, the funniest part was I'm doing that, and I can barely see Caden. Like, I just see like this figure. I can kind of hear you guys, but I can barely see his figure. I mean, he's only 7-8 yards ahead of me, and he's out in front of me. And I see Caden do something like, where like he was here, and all of a sudden he's like here, and it looks like he went down, and I was like, what the heck is that? I'm like, what did he just walk around or through? And we get to it, I'm swinging that barrel, and I see this, like, barely can see this little dark thing coming up. I'm like, what is that? And I'm like moving the gun, dude, I'm moving the gun barrel back and forth, and all of a sudden I smack it, and Kyle's like, what the heck is that? I'm like, I think it's
Bigfoot.
I'm like, dude, no, I'm like, I think it's a tree, but it's like coming out of weird air.
You're in the forest. What else would it be?
I know, but it's like the way it looked, it was just like, it wasn't straight. It was like almost like on the ground, and then it like shot up. Anyways, at a 45-degree angle. And I hit it, and like the log's kind of big, and I'm like up on it. I'm like, well, follow me, Kyle. I'm like tapping on the freaking, like the big limb, make sure there's not like a bunch of branches I'm about to stick my face right through. And I hop around it and walk around it, kind of, I guess, how Caden went around it. And Kyle does the same thing. And we finally get down the bottom. And dude, I'm going to tell you, it's black. And it's so dark. And listen, the last 2 days, Andrew's like, man, your eyes get better. Like, you'll see good. Bull! Listen, my dude, from the top of the truck to the time we got there, I'm like, I don't think my eyes got any better until we got on the open hillside. And I can, like, there's a little light in the sky. I can see now. But we went down that bottom and crossed the ditch wasn't nearly as bad today. I mean, it was nothing compared to yesterday. That embankment we had to climb up. And at some point we're walking, and I just hear like commotion behind me, and I don't even check up on Kyle. I'm just like, oh, he's good. And he didn't say anything. And that's when he was like, when we get to the tree, he's like, dude, I fell in a hole. He's like, dude, I was waist deep in a hole. And I'm like, so that's what I'm scared of, dude. That could have been a whale.
Oh my gosh.
But anyway, dude, we made it up the hill. Anyways, found some trees, ended up repositioning in the dark because I didn't like the original spot Andrew you wanted to sit at.
Yeah, what you said, it's kind of tough because some of these ridges are so steep off the edge. When you sit at the top, you can only see like 10 yards before it drops.
Yeah.
And that first spot was like that. It was just a little bit light enough where you could see kind of what's in front of you. couldn't really tell if there were saplings there or not, but yeah, there's that drop. So we're like, well, let's reposition, because we knew from being in there the 2 days before that there was an open patch on the side of that steep hillside.
Yeah.
And it had scratch in it, and it just looks like a place a turkey would be.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a big oak tree like 15 yards away. I was like, well, let's get to that because it's a little more over the edge, so we could still see the top, but we could also see off the edge. So we go sit there. Kyle and Caden get on 2 trees next to us. Me and you sit on the same oak tree, and we're sitting there, and we thought we heard a wing on a tree again, like feathers scratching on a limb. And it started to get pretty light, and we hadn't heard anything. I think you heard some gobbles way far off.
No, the first one I hear was like, well, maybe, but it was like 5:45 before I heard anything, and I'm not one of the far ones. Yeah, at one point I looked, I was like, because I'm on the far left of everybody, so Andrew's off my right shoulder, and then Caden's on a tree to the right of Andrew, and Kyle's on a tree to like just off Andrew's right shoulder, a little bit behind Caden. And I looked over at Andrew, looked over at you, and I was like, get Kyle to owl hoot, because he's got the best natural owl hoot voice of anybody, east of the Mississippi. And anyways.
Yeah, I turned to Kyle, and I'm like, hey, hoot one time. And there was a car on the highway or something making some noise. He's like, let me wait for that. And he hoots, and he gets to like the third note of that hoot, and one just hammers right on top of us.
He gobbled twice. So yeah, he get to the third note of who cooks for you. He get who cooks for, and the turkey gobble. Okay, and Kyle kept his composure. He finished the whole thing. Didn't miss a beat.
Yep.
And the turkey gobbles again at the end of it.
Yep.
And I was like, oh my God. The first time it gobbled, it was so loud. I'm like, this turkey's right here in front of us. Like, it is in a tree right here above us. And then when he gobbled the second time at the end of, him hooting, I was like, oh no, it's behind us. I'm like, this is way worse.
This is no bueno.
Yeah, I'm like, it is no bueno. Like, everybody's facing the same direction, and it is behind all of us. Right here. I mean, it is right there. I'm like, he's in shotgun range, it sounds like.
Right when he gobbled, I mean, he was on top of us. Because right before then, Kyle had asked me if I was drumming.
Oh, yeah?
And I thought for a few minutes I could be hearing it, but I just wasn't 100% sure. So when he asked me, hey, are you hearing drumming? I was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. And then that's when you told him to hoot, and he did, and it kind of just came apart at the seams, if you will.
Oh, dude, it was awesome. But to be honest, it was so close, but it was behind us. And this is something that's happened more and more to me recently. I'm excited, but I'm not like shaking excited. It's more like, okay, he's there, but we don't have a play on this bird right now. So it's like there's no point of getting like jacked up, because like he's on the wrong side of the tree. We're out of position. Unfortunately, we didn't know. We didn't go in there roosting birds the night before. But I was just sitting there like, this is cool, but I'm like, this kind of sucks. This is bad.
Sketch.
Yeah, like this is gonna be tough, depending on how this plays out. And he just went on. He didn't gobble. He wasn't gobbling like every 15, 20 seconds. He'd gobble every. It took him a while to start gobbling on his own, but when he started gobbling on his own, it was maybe every couple minutes. Maybe he'd gobble.
Yeah. There's a couple times in there where he would gobble 3 or 4 times, pretty close to each other, but for the most part, it was every few minutes. And so I'm on the right side of this tree, and this bird sounds like he's right behind us. And so like I kind of just like barely shift over on the tree like this, and I start looking over my right shoulder as far as I can. And I'm like first I'm looking right above us because it's so loud. I'm like, he is like about to crap on one of us. And I don't see him up there, and I can see all those trees pretty well. And then he keeps gobbling, and every time he gobbles, I'm like getting more of a pinpoint on where he's at. And I'm like, I'm looking so far to my right, I'm starting to get cross-eyed, and I'm like having to squint and like close one eye to see if I can see this bird. And I don't know, he probably gobbled at least 8 or 9 times before I finally saw him. And I kept seeing some things in the trees. There's so many of these stinking pine limbs that look like a turkey up in a tree, especially when it's kind of dark still, and you're like, oh, is that him? And I'm staring at it, and it never moves. And then I hear a gobble, and it didn't move. I'm like, well, that's not him. And finally I end up seeing him. I see the fan go up, like where he's half strut. I'm like, oh, I see him. And this turkey's I said he's probably like 75 yards from us.
Mm-hmm.
And he's eye level with us. There's one pine tree growing off the steep side of this hill that we're on top of.
Mm-hmm.
And he is like straight eye level with me on a horizontal limb, just standing there. And he's looking around and he's strutting. I see his beard hanging out. And I'm like, man, I don't know what's going to happen here. But when I saw him and got confirmed where his location was, I'm like, okay, this actually might be pretty good because he's probably going to pitch down on this hillside right beneath us, like 40 yards beneath us. And then we can spin and then call, and if he just pokes his head up, we got him. And so that's what we were doing. I think Kyle whispered to me or something, and he's like, when he flies, turn. Like, as soon as he flies, get turned. And I was like, okay. And we just wait and wait and wait. And my neck is like, I'm dying, dude. Like, my eyes are definitely going to be crossed at the end of this. Like, I'm not going to be able to get them uncrossed. I'm looking so hard. I kept having to, like, close my eyes for a minute and then open them back up. And I'm trying to not take my eyes off this turkey. And he kept leaning down. Like, he would lean way forward on that limb. And I went, he's about to pitch out. He's about to pitch out. And then he would go back and he would gobble and then strut. I'm like, come on, dude. Please just fly out. He stayed in the tree for forever.
Yeah, see, I didn't see any of this because I was complete 180 degrees off where this turkey was. So I'm just sitting here up in this giant wide oak. And I'm just like, well, I hope he pitches. Because you told me, he's like, hey, when he pitches, you need to spin to your left and get position.
Oh, yeah, dude. I was giving everyone orders. I was like, Kyle, you need to move because you're between me and the turkey. Jacob, you need to swing straight to your left. I need to swing to the right. And you saw the turkey in the tree, right?
Yeah. My plan was as soon as he pitched, I was going to swing to the right.
Yeah. So he stayed in the tree forever.
Yeah, so I was looking at my watch. It was 6:13, which is, I mean, dude, it was crazy light. I mean, he could have flown down. I was thinking like today was like a fly down where they're going to get down before 6 a.m.
Yes.
Like 5:55, 5:56, something like that was going to be fly down. It was 6:50. It was like 6:30. It was 6:13 on the dot. I was looking, and I'm like, God, what is this turkey doing? I'm like, maybe he heard. I mean, clearly, I'm sure he heard us walking up that hill. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe he's like a little spooked or something like that. And we thought we had heard a hen yelp.
Yeah, there was like a single note yelp.
Yeah.
I thought it was out in front of us, but all three of y'all were like, no, it was to the left in the saddle.
Yeah.
And when we heard that yelp, I was looking at him when it happened, and that was right before it looked like he was going to pitch out one of the times. He'd done it 2 or 3 times, and he leans forward, way forward on that limb, puts his head down. I'm like, okay, here he goes. And then that yelp happened, and he stood up, and he started doing this, and he was like looking all around over there.
Quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Does that change what your thoughts are to call into a bird on a limb now?
No. Because I think what happened there is what Kyle said. Because I thought this hen was down the hill in front of us. I was like, well, this might be perfect because she's going to come up here and scratch around. He's going to hear her. And the thing I was kind of worried that he was going to do is from where he was at, he could pitch and land like 20 inches from Kyle. Like, seriously. Because there's just this perfect little open patch right behind Kyle. And that bird was looking at it.
That's probably where he flew up from, or close to it.
It's probably where yeah, it probably is. And so I'm like, if he flies right here in the middle of
Kyle,
us.
snatch him!
Grab him!
Listen, Kaden grabbed a pig while we were down in Florida. Kyle grabbed a gobbler. No.
So I was like, if he flies right here in the middle of us, this ain't gonna work, because where he would land, it literally Caden and Kyle are directly between me and where he would land. I'm like, there's no way. So I was worried he was gonna do that. But I think that hen was over in that saddle, and I think that he could maybe see her, and he was watching her and trying to get her to come to him or something. That's what Kyle thought. That's what he said this morning. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But about that time, we hear walking out in front of us.
So everybody's paying attention to this gobbler. I can't, because I'm like facing completely opposite direction of this turkey.
It's like Florida all over again.
And yes,
everyone sees the turkey except Jacob.
So I start hearing what sounds like walking, like coming up the ridge. And I kept hearing it. And I made a comment to you. I'm like, I think I hear turkey walking down below us. And you're like, okay. Oh, And you're probably thinking it was that hen, thinking of the hen.
Yeah, I think I said it when we were sitting there. I was like, it's probably that hen.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay. I'm sitting here. I'm like, it's getting louder and louder. And it's off, like, how I had my gun and where I was sitting, it was, again, a right-handed shooter. It was off my right shoulder at probably almost like 2 o'clock, like 1:30, 2 o'clock position, which is, for a right-handed shooter, even with your gun up, that's very hard to, like, pivot your body around without having to completely shift on the tree. So I just didn't move. I'm like, it's coming up on your side. I was like, it's coming up on Andrew's side of the tree. And it gets louder and louder. I'm like, man, this turkey's coming. And all of a sudden, I see, well, first I see one white and red head. And I'm like, oh, it's a gobbler. It's a gobbler. And I see his beard. And like the stuff we're sitting in is like kind of, I don't know, kind of like regenerated. There's like just different forbs and stuff and some saplings. A lot of it's 18 inches tall.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sporadic. Well, I see this turkey coming, white and red head. I see him. I'm like, and I see his beard come out, but I can't see the bottom of the beard and all that stuff. I'm like, it's a gobbler. He's coming right to us. And you're like, what? I'm like, he's walking right. He's going to come down your gun barrel. And I'm like, there's another one. I see the second one. I'm like, they're coming right to you. Like, like I can't do nothing. Like I can see them. I can't do nothing. And finally,
I think he said, I think what you said was like, turn and kill this bird.
yeah, I was like, come and turn and kill this gobbler. Don't worry about the one on the tree. Kill the one on the ground in front of us at 35 yards. Because, I mean, but when I first saw them, they were like 35, 40 yards coming up to us. Well, the one that I see his beard on, he kind of slips behind like a little bit of brush between me and the turkey, which was directly in front of you. And then the other one was like in the more open. And it like kind of stood up and was like probably looking at that gobbler. And I could barely even see a beard on him. Like, okay, that one's a Jake, a small body. Like, that one's a Jake. Don't worry about. I'm like, the left one's a Jake, right one's a gobbler. Shoot the right one. And you're like, okay. And like, you went from like, all the YouTube people can see this. You went from like having your neck craned way to the right, like looking way to the right at this gobbler, to like slowly shifting back right here, and getting your gun. And I'm like, move your gun to the right. They're coming to your, like, they're going to your right. Move the gun to your right. And you're like, slowly move that gun to the right. I was like, God, I'm like, this turkey's going to pop out right here at 18 yards and, like, bust us. Because Andrew ain't got his gun all the way over yet. And, anyways, you do all that. And by this time, I'm looking at them, and I'm like, they're 30 yards is what it looked like. 30, 35. If that. And start putting. I was like,
well, so when I moved like that, when I was getting the gun up, the gobbler in the tree that I broke my neck looking at for 20 minutes, he saw me.
Yeah.
And because there was like basically nothing between. I had a little sapling covering me, but it wasn't enough.
No.
And yeah, he pitched out and he flew across that valley. Because like as I was turning my head, I saw him pitch. And yeah, I mean, he's, as my buddy Wayne says, he's probably going to walk for 2 weeks to get home. He flew so far.
Yeah. So, and I didn't hear the turkey. I was like, I don't care. Kill this gobbler right here in front of me. He's right in front of us. Like, kill him. And anyways, they start putting. Come to find out, probably putting at the gobbler flying off.
Yeah.
I don't think he could have seen you because I don't think you could see him that great.
No, there was a big bush right between me and them.
Yeah.
And I got situated before they came out from behind it. And they couldn't have seen me through it.
Yeah.
But I got the gun up and I clicked the safety off.
Yeah.
And the first one came through my gap. And you were like, that's a Jake. And it looked small, and he didn't have much for waddles or anything like that.
Yeah.
Like he just looked like a Jake.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, when they started putting, for a split second, they like zigzagged. Like I could see them. They went from like Gobbler was on the left to the Jake was on the right. They like zigzagged, and now I'm like, I don't know which one's which because I can't see their beards. Because like they got in some of that stuff. All you can see is their head. I'm like, crap, I don't know which one's what. And like that's when they popped out on your side and they started putting and they started like kind of working to the right, kind of in front of Caden. And Caden's getting all this on camera. And you're like, which one's Longbeard? I'm like, I don't know. They freaking zigzag, like they swap positions, ran around each other. I'm like, it's like the whole game with the 3 cups and a ball underneath, and you move them around. I don't know which one was I don't know which one had the ball in it. I don't know which one had the Longbeard. And anyway, so they do that, and they start putting, and they're like slowly like walking off, but they're like they're like moving really slow, like not like running out of there.
Mm-mm.
And I'm like, you're like, oh, I'm on him. But I'm like, he's in the open. I can't tell which bird it is.
Yeah, I was like, I'm on him. I had the bead like on him. He was in the open, neck up. I mean, just perfect.
Yeah.
and safety was off, but I was like, I don't know which one it is. And I think at that point, Kate was like, I think they're both Jakes.
Well, yeah, the right, because I heard your safety click, and I'm looking at both of them because they're both right here, and I'm zoomed in on the camera so I can see a little bit better than y'all can with your naked eye.
Yeah.
And the one bird definitely did have a little bit longer of a beard than the Jake did. But they definitely were both Jakes.
So,
Super Jake.
Like he probably had like a little 5-inch, 6-inch beard. It just kind of stuck out. The other Jake, it was real tiny. You barely could see it.
That comes in the story because as they kind of ease off, and I'm like, I'm looking at them. They're on the wide. I mean, as open as you could be hunting some thick woods. Okay.
Yeah.
Like you see their head, you can see part of their body, but I couldn't ever see their beard again. And they kind of ease off. And you're like, what? He said something. I'm like, I just let them leave. Like, if you don't know which one's which, I'd let them leave. Well, that's when they finally worked off. Katie, and you're like, I think they were both Jakes. I'm like, really? He's like, you're like, yeah, I looked at both of them. Like, one, like you said, one had a little bit longer beard. And I think that's what it was when they were walking in.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stuff they were walking through, I could see that first 3 or 4 inches of his beard. And it looked like it drooped down underneath all that stuff. And it must have ended.
Yep.
Yeah, because when he walked through my gap, I thought that I saw a full beard.
Yeah.
But they got that little crease in their feathers or whatever, where their beard's at, and I was like, "Is that a beard or is that just his feathers?" Because like there were so many saplings between me and him, it looked like either a crease or a beard. I couldn't tell what it was, and so he just got through my gap, and I could have shot him like 3 different times because he got through this gap, and then I caught a glimpse of him here, and I was on him the whole time, but yeah, I didn't want to shoot a Jake.
Oh, yeah, but. Which, I mean, that was a good decision. but also, like, even, I think Kyle said it, or one of y'all said it, one of them definitely had, like, a much bigger head. And I could see a head and snood hanging down. Like, just when they were walking in, that was the one I thought was the long beard.
That's the one that stopped in my lane that I was about to bust.
Yeah, and I'm like, I would have swore it was a gobbler.
Yeah.
But anyways, they work off, looked at footage, like, yeah, it was 2 Jakes. And we messed around for like probably just sitting there 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And also kind of all stand up like, oh, let's figure out, because we ended up having a bird. While this one was gobbling next to us, ended up having one gobble once or twice way back towards the truck down that drainage and that big hub. And Kyle just stands up and like owl hooted. Did the turkey gobble the owl hoot, or was it him yelping?
No, he owl hooted and that turkey gobbled down there in the bottom.
So he hooted, turkey gobbled right where those Jakes had walked off, and we're like, well, I guess we're back on another bird. Let's sit down. Sat down, called a little bit, nothing, and at some point later, turkey gobbles again. I forgot if it was because Kyle owl hooted or yelped. And when he gobbled, he was a little bit further away, and I was sitting there, I'm like, I bet you it's that Jake with that bigger head.
Yeah.
It has a little bit longer beard.
Gobbling Jake.
Yeah.
One interesting thing that Kyle said, I wish he could have made it to this. He's like, the problem with hunting a place with so many turkeys around that gobble so much, he's like, he thinks that the Jakes learn how to gobble faster when there's so many turkeys around.
Yeah.
He's like, dude, they pick it up. Like, they hear it every day, and they pick it up, and they figure out how to do it quicker. Mm-hmm. And so you have a lot of Jakes in there that gobble like a gobbler, like a full-grown.
Which it makes me wonder if those 8 or 9 I'd heard that first morning, morning, how many of those could have been gobbling Jakes.
And all the fighting purrs and all that, too, which gobblers do that, too, but I feel like that's especially a Jake thing.
Yep.
So, meanwhile, that bird that had gobbled at the truck, he gobbled maybe, I think, when we were sitting there, so we were like, well, let's go try him, and we can always swing back in here if we need to. So, we start moving, covering ground. We get up. He gobbles at a hoot that Kyle did. We get all the way back up to the road because he's like up by the truck somewhere.
And he's like, but it was far. When he gobbled at that hoot, it was like, I mean, it was like far. And you're like, you really had to be listening hard for it.
Yeah.
And get back up to the truck. And
got up to the truck, got up to the road next to the truck, stood there. And we didn't know if he was on the other side of the road or if he was still on our side, but maybe off the side of the hill or something. Mm-hmm. And so we stood up there, and Kyle started cutting on his mouth call. And he cut for a little while before it finally gobbled at him.
Yep.
And it gobbled, and we confirmed it was down. I thought he was either in this little drain, like a hardwood drainage off the road, or he was in the road. Not like the driving road, but one of these little gated roads that goes off into the woods.
Yep.
And I'm like, he's probably in that road because I'd found gobbler tracks in it last week. So we're like, let's just start easing down that road and keep checking him and just see if we can get on him. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a big metal gate right there on that road where you can't drive through it. And so we're all easing through there, and we're going up under this gate. It's got these big metal things on it. And I go under. Kyle goes under. Caden goes under. And then Jacob goes under. And he just didn't get quite low enough. He just runs into the gate. And we're sneaking in on this turkey, and it's just like the loudest metal, like doing sound.
Yeah, it sounded like, almost sounded like you smacked a stop sign with a baseball bat.
That's exactly how it sounded.
Yeah, it was very loud. The second I did, I was like, oh no.
And everyone at the same time turns around, and we're all like, what the? And Jacob's
I
like,
was standing right next to Jake because I just went through it, and you two whipped your heads around, and I just went. And
Jacob went, he's like, sorry. And so we go over here. The turkey's gone. Like, he heard that. And he's like, nope, leaving. And so we're standing there for a minute, and we keep trying to restrike, and we can't. And we're all kind of quiet for a second. And Jacob goes, I'm so sorry, guys.
Yeah. That was bad. That was really bad.
And so then we're standing there. I'm like, all right, it's like 8:30, and we've spooked 4 turkeys so far. And Caden yesterday, Caden seems like he's wanted us to be a little more aggressive these last 2 days.
yes.
And so I was like, all right, Caden, tomorrow we'll be aggressive. We're either going to spook them or kill them. And
By God, we spooked them.
we spooked them, boys. So then we're standing around trying to figure out what to do. Kyle had to go. It's about 9 a.m. at this point. And we didn't want to go back in this bottom and try these turkeys again because we've already been hunting them for a couple days. Can't get them to do nothing. And we've been hunting this general area for like almost the whole season pretty much. Mm-hmm. And just every day it's kind of the same. Like they get in those bottoms and they don't gobble. They might come in if you get close enough to them and call to them and they're by themselves. But it's just hard to mess with these turkeys down here. So we're like, well, let's go try a different area. And we decided to go try the area where I killed my bird on public a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And I like that area because it's the mid canopy is pretty thick all throughout it. When I was in there and killed that bird, it wasn't that thick, but you still couldn't see that far. Mm-hmm. And I liked that because when we're hunting these big pine stands and burns and stuff like that, you can see so far through them that it's really difficult to make a play on a bird. You end up having to swing like a half mile around them just to get relatively close. But in those woods, I'm like, it's probably greened up a lot, and we could probably dang near walk right up on one. Like, if we need to move on one, we can. Mm-hmm. And in these places, you got to get close to them to call them in my opinion. And that's how I killed the one in there. I was just slipping through that bottom, and it was so thick that he just couldn't see me. And by the time I called to him, I didn't even know he was there. By the time I called to him, he's probably less than 150 yards, and he just walked right to me silent. So I'm like, well, let's just go and check out all these little bottoms in here. When we're looking at the LiDAR map, there's all kinds of little ridge points that are that third tier right on the creek. Some of them are even like 8 feet tall, right off the edge of the creek. But that's where the one I killed was. He was in a spot like that. So we go working through there and we find a lot of sign. Tons of scratch, but just can't strike a bird. And we're going through getting frustrated.
No, I was good.
I was getting frustrated.
Andrew was getting
I was getting a little bit frustrated too.
I was like, this is part of the game.
Every step, we had to go through this like sunny hillside that was kind of thick, and I was getting aggravated. And then you tried to say something to me, and I was like, what? You were like 20 yards behind us, and you tried to say something, and I was like, what? You repeated it. I was like, what? You repeated it again, and I still couldn't hear you. And I turned to Kate, and I was like, I don't know what he's saying. And I just kept walking. And every step I took through that sunny, hot thicket, I was just thinking about those jakes that messed us up this morning. I was like, oh, stupid jakes, man. So we hunt all through this area and get close to where I killed the bird a couple weeks ago. And this creek bottom just looks like, again, where a turkey would be. There's saplings down there, canopy's thick, it's dark and shaded. Once you drop into it, there's a noticeable temperature difference. I'm like, they're in here somewhere. There's fresh scratch everywhere.
Everywhere.
And we even found a fresh track in the creek. And so we swing around and get in there. And at this point, we've only got like 30 minutes left. And we sit against some trees, call, and then basically take a nap.
Y'all take a nap.
Yeah, Andrew fell. I saw Andrew. He fell asleep, but he doesn't snore. I kind of closed my eyes, and all of a sudden I heard something that sounded like walking. I think it was Caden moving on the other side of the tree. I just heard something rustling leaves.
Yeah, you kind of started to snore a little bit. Not loud, but I could hear it coming on.
No, but see, that happened, and then I was like, I remember looking at my watch, and it was like, I think we had like 12 minutes left before end legal. So I'm like, I'm just going to close my eyes. The next thing I know, like I hear like snickering or something. And I'm like,
we're about to start messing with him.
Yep.
I kind of like get up, or kind of like open my eyes. And I just think like I just had my eyes closed, like I didn't fall asleep. And I looked over, and Caden's got the camera like because I'm sitting on a tree across from you guys. He's like behind Andrew's head with the camera, and Andrew smiled at me. And I'm like, you were asleep too? He's like, yeah, but I wasn't snoring. I'm like, I wasn't snoring. He's like, yeah, you were.
Like, yeah, that's a legal
Locator call.
locator. That's scare a turkey. So yeah, into legal happens. So it hits 1 o'clock, can't hunt anymore. Unload the guns, start walking back to the truck. And I was like, I want to walk through this creek and just see what the sign looks like in here, and just get a better lay of the land. Because again, they're spending so much time down in those bottoms. I feel like if I have an opportunity to walk them, I want to, just so I know if I hear one somewhere, like where he might go or where he might be. And so we go walking up there, and we're going to walk right past the spot where I killed the gobbler like 2 weeks ago or whatever it was. And we get up to that spot, and I'm like, I don't know, 20 or 30 yards ahead of y'all. And I hear wings. There's like a little ridge point. We talked about it when I killed the bird. There's a little ridge point that kind of, really, it's actually a drain that comes off this ridge. It's like a big ridge face. And there's like a slight little drainage that comes down and empties out right into the creek. And he was standing like right there. And I hear wings. And I turn and look, and I just see a turkey getting up. And I'm like, is that a gobbler? And I just point at it. And y'all are behind me. I'm thinking y'all are looking too. I just point at it, and I'm like following it. I'm like, there's a turkey. And he flies through this opening, and sure enough, it's a big old longbeard. And I turn around and look at you guys, and y'all are just bebopping through. I'm like, did y'all not see that turkey? And you're all like, what are you talking about? I'm like, gobbler just flew over your head. Pretty much, like, flew 30 yards to your right. Y'all never saw it. And just flew through the wide open. And
wide open is about as relative as
a very relative term.
Being able to see in your closet with the lights off, okay? Walking in the dark. And that's
keep going back to the closet.
Listen, I'm just saying relative.
Trying to tell us something.
I was waiting this whole time for Kay to make that joke. Actually, I don't think y'all could have seen him because y'all are still kind of in those saplings.
It was thick as crap. I saw you. I finally looked. And I might have seen the back side of you pointing, and I was like, "What is he doing?" Because like you're 25 yards ahead of us, and you had this big grin on your face, and I'm like, "What is wrong with Andrew?" Like he's just like smiling. And I'm like, "You're like, y'all see that turkey?" And I'm like, "No." Like,
what turkey?
Turkey just flew. It was gobbler just flew. I'm like, "What?" And we're like, "Was it a gobbler?" Like, yeah. I'm like, no, it wasn't. There wasn't no turkey. He's like, yeah, it flew from right through here, right through this opening. I'm like, I didn't hear him. I didn't see him, but okay, dang.
Yep.
But,
right in the same spot where the one I killed, where he was standing and where he walked off that little ridge and then flew over the creek to me, that is exactly where that gobbler was.
Yeah, we actually found the spot where he shot the bird, which was probably 45 yards across the creek from where he was at. It's probably 45 or 50 yards.
Yeah.
Where he shot that bird.
Yeah, because I'd come in from the other side that day, and I'd called, and I did like 2 or 3 yelp sequences kind of close together, just meow, 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 and then stopped for a second, and then did it again. And by the time I stopped, I think it was the second one, I heard him walking, and I couldn't see him yet, and it's just because he was coming off that ridge, and there's those saplings, and I was looking through the saplings to the right, and I couldn't see him, and then I cut my eyes to the left, and he was already standing on the edge of the creek, and then he flew across and landed, and I got him. But same spot, same exact spot. So I'm like, okay, well, there's another one doing the same thing in that area, so that's good to know. And then we walked up to this little flat down there that's right above the creek. It's like the creek bottom is totally flat, and then there's like a 1 foot incline, and then it's flat again for a pretty nice little area. And it is scratched.
It is mutilated, as Greg would say.
That's the most scratch I've seen this year.
Yeah, it's. I told Kyle, I was like, because Kyle called me when we were leaving, and I got cell service, and I explained it to him, like, dude, I've saw more scratch today than I've seen all season. He's like, more than what we've seen? I'm like, 5-6 times what we've seen. Like, ridiculous.
Yep.
Ridiculous amount of scratch. I mean,
fresh droppings in it too.
Yeah. I mean, it looked like hog rooting, but there's no hogs.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it was destroyed. I'm like, okay, that's good to know.
Well, and we walked past some of those little third tier points with Caden today, and Caden's a flatlander, so I'm like telling him, I've seen them out here so many times. They get on those little flats and they just stand there because they can see all up and down that creek bottom, and so they got a little bit of elevation on their hens. Like they're not 100 foot up this ridge; they're like 10 feet higher, but they can see under that canopy and see all around them. And then down below all those little points, there'd be scratch all around them. And I'm like, these gobblers get up here and they just watch for hens. I feel like they're just scanning, looking for them, or the hens are down there scratching, and the gobbler's just sitting up there strutting on that little point. And I think that's what that spot is. But it's just it's a good spot to kill one, especially midday, because you can slip in from that other side and he's not going to see you. You can walk right in there like I did, and you can set up and you can just soft call and he'll probably come right off that point. And when we were sitting there for that last 30 minutes, I'm assuming the gobbler was probably there when we were sitting there. And I ranged it on the map. We were like 205 yards from where he was standing. And we called, he never gobbled, didn't come to us or anything. So I don't know. It is what it is. They get down there, they're hard to kill. I mean, you can kill them, but it's tough, dude. It is hard. So yeah, spooked 5 turkeys today. Educating all the local birds.
Fun times.
Yeah. Caden, what's your impressions of hunting Alabama so far? First time hunting Alabama, right?
First time turkey hunting Alabama.
Okay.
But it's beautiful woods. I love the fact that there's terrain. Because it makes it so much easier to be able to make a move on a bird. I've hunted terrain a little bit for turkeys, like in West Virginia and Indiana, but I struggle with trying to pinpoint where I'm hearing the gobblers because of the echoes. But y'all have a lot of birds.
Don't say that.
No, we ain't got that many birds. What are you talking about?
No.
Well, you asked me my impressions. Coming from Florida, I don't think I've ever heard, on public ground in Florida, I don't think I've ever heard more than 3 gobblers in the morning. And we blew that out of the water.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We've had some good ones.
Within 400 yards, too, on top of that.
Yeah. But it didn't kill them, so it don't matter.
Yeah, well, we ain't killed one yet.
We got a bunch of them. They're hard to kill.
We ain't kill one in the morning.
Yeah. What's Mike Pentecost say? They're born with PhDs and...
They're born with PhDs and flak jackets.
Yeah, PhDs in survival.
Yeah, they're tough, man. Yeah, that's one thing. There were several times this week where we would hear a bird gobble, and me and you would point one direction, and Caden would point the opposite direction. I'm like, no, you just gotta.
So Kyle brought this up, and I mean I've done this for a while now, but I forgot why he brought it up. We were hunting. Who were we with? I can't remember. I felt like we were hunting with somebody, but maybe we weren't. He was talking about when you start to hear one gobble, like kind of cut your head a little bit, and just by moving your head just a touch, you can kind of like almost pinpoint it a little bit better.
Yeah, that's what I was telling him this week. I was like, when you start to hear a gobble, just turn your head a little bit, and it'll like pinpoint that sound for you.
That was something Kyle was saying, which I mean, kind of naturally did too. The second you hear a gobble, you just kind of like cut your head. It looks super goofy when you're not snapping your head real hard. You're just like barely moving it.
Yeah.
And it helps a ton because you'll get it where they echo, and especially if they're way up in a drainage or something, they'll gobble, and depending on how high up in that drainage they are, and if there's like a bunch of bends in that drainage, sometimes it'll sound like they're way up over on this other bridge system.
Yeah.
Just because of the way that the gobble echoes, and it'll make it really tough. You'll like just sitting there pointing, you're like. Everybody's pointing 3 different directions. It's like the whole meme of like turkey gobbles and everybody's like doing this, like pointing the opposite direction. Like really can happen when you're out there on that kind of stuff. Or depending on what side of the tree you're sitting on, if you're actually sitting down, one gobbles at a pretty good distance of like okay, where was that turkey actually? It can be tough, very tough.
Yeah, or even when y'all were hearing those gobbles this morning that were far back behind us, I was on the opposite side of the tree from you, so the tree was between me and those. And I maybe only heard it once or twice. I think y'all heard it more than that.
Yeah.
But even just sitting up against a tree can mess you up. Like, if you're out just listening, you're not in a spot where you're trying to call one, I always like to not stand next to a tree. Just so you can hear all around you a little bit better.
Yeah, just be careful.
Yeah, be
On
careful.
top of one, you'll be like, oh, I got to look like a tree now.
Yep. All right, well, what were we doing in the morning?
Wait. Don't forget.
Oh, dude, you missed it.
You missed out on something
Slowpoke
super
getting
cool.
out of the woods. Missed it.
Super cool.
So Jacob takes forever to do anything, including get out of the woods and get in his truck. So we were like, we got to come here and do this episode. So we left. And when we were driving out, there's that little clear cut that we had to drive through. Well, we get up there and there's
a helicopter?
There's a truck
Oh,
blocking the road.
Yeah.
He didn't see what we saw.
Yeah, he didn't get to see it land.
I mean, I could tell it landed on top of that truck. But, yeah, the helicopter wasn't there when I got there.
Yeah, no, the helicopter, we
Sorry
pull
to
up.
ruin y'all's fun.
Yeah, ruined it.
It was there doing some aerial spraying.
Yeah, this helicopter flew like right over the truck, and then we pull up, and this guy's got the road blocked with that big tanker truck. And we stop, and this helicopter comes in and just landed right on top of that thing. The dude turned and like waved at us. We're like, "This is sick, dude." And it's
You saw a gobbler or something.
no,
No, we saw a helicopter, man.
I told Caden, I was like, I need to walk up there and get that dude's number and be like, holler at me if you see any gobblers.
Drop
in
some
this-
pins, bro, while you're up there.
I'm like, man, you do some serious scouting from that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were spraying clear cuts.
Yeah. When I pulled up, the other truck was blocking the road. I saw a sign on the truck. I was like, what is this? It's on a helicopter LLC.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, and I saw the truck, big fuel truck. And I was like, huh. I don't know.
It's probably, I think it was herbicide.
Yeah, but you could see it had like a deck on the top of it where it was landing. I'm like, that's pretty sick. And I was like, I never saw a helicopter, but it was pretty big.
Yeah, he landed right in front of us. We got videos of it. So,
Oh, sweet, dude. Awesome. Well, anyways, other than that, we're going to try to go bust us a bird tomorrow. Try to hunt hard before we get a bunch of rain coming in. But appreciate everybody watching the podcast. Hopefully y'all are having some success. If you have, make sure you write in your listener success story on our website, thesouthernoutdoorsman.com. I've been seeing a bunch of messages through social media on our channels, but also on YouTube, comments of people talking about having a really good season, implementing stuff that some of the guests have talked about in the podcast. If that's been the case for you, write in your listener success story on our website. Love sharing those in the off season. But other than that, appreciate y'all watching. Thank y'all for listening. We'll catch you back here on the next episode from the Southern Outdoorsman. And remember, guys, y'all stay Southern.